People who don't have a strategy get distracted by tactics. AI, as you'll learn, is not a strategy, it's an accelerant, like automation. Just because something can automate doesn't mean it's a strategy. It just means if you don't have a strategy, you'll automate the wrong thing and go in the wrong direction faster. And AI is just another accelerant. If you have a terrible strategy and you don't know what you're doing and you put that into AI, it will do the thing that you've asked it to do with the clarity that you've had and the insight that you've got, and it will take you on that journey. And if that is 10 degrees to the left of where it should be, guess what's going to happen? You're going to end up in the wrong spot faster. Hey there, expert. Rana Saini here. See, the wealthiest business coaches and consultants see business success as a system. This podcast, The Expert Advantage, contains real-world, in-the-trenches business advice that our clients use to gain a strategic advantage in growing their million-dollar expert business. It's my hope that you use these short lessons and insights to gain your strategic advantage in growing your expert business, and maybe one day soon partner with us at the Expert Project to take your expert coaching and consulting business to $1 million and beyond. I hope you share and enjoy. Hey guys, welcome. It's so great to see you guys here today. I'm so excited to share with you some of the insights that are really helping to drive our business forward, but also the things that we're considering to help our business become highly profitable and valuable for the future. It's about creating the future for our businesses. We can't change what the past has brought us to this point in time, but what we can do is make better decisions around the information that we have to get out of the future the things that we want. And that starts with you focusing on your business as the CEO of your business. And it's so important. So many people just think that business is about just doing courses or doing ads or running tactics or ad hoc things that sound shiny and exciting, but really what business comes down to is a strategy and a system. Success is a system, and so today we want to add a piece to your system. And so over the next couple of days, with the shift that we see taking place, with the things that we see happening in the marketplace, you must be willing to change and adapt to new trends, technologies, and customer needs to stay competitive and be successful in the future. I take a snapshot of that. And at the end of every week, you can look at where you adapted, what you've done, because those are the things that are going to be really in your face for the next 12 months. There'll be a new thing every week. There'll be a new app. There'll be a new technology. There'll be a new system. There'll be a new strategy. There'll be a new widget. There'll be a new bot. There'll be all lovely distractions. But do you need all of them? People who don't have a strategy get distracted by tactics. AI, as you'll learn, is not a strategy, it's an accelerant, like automation. Just because something can automate doesn't mean it's a strategy. It just means if you don't have a strategy, you'll automate the wrong thing and go in the wrong direction faster. And AI is just another accelerant. If you have a terrible strategy and you don't know what you're doing and you put that into AI, it will do the thing that you've asked it to do with the clarity that you've had and the insight that you've got, and it will take you on that journey. And if that is 10 degrees to the left of where it should be, guess what's going to happen? You're going to end up in the wrong spot faster. So it can be expensive. Garbage in, garbage out. I love it, Kate. So it's not about AI being the thing that's going to change your business. It's how do you apply your strategy and use AI as an accelerant. So as I talk about strategy, if you guys want to jump into page 6 of your workbook, it should look a little something like this. And there'll be 5 boxes. And I'd like you to write these in because these are really important for you. When people talk about strategy, this is what I mean about strategy. AI cannot do these things for you. So write these down. Ready? The things that I've learned over the last 10 to 12 plus years of running business. I've been running businesses since I was 21 years old. And the thing that I've learned and the things that I've seen, these are the 5 things that if I was to start again, I would focus on. These are like undeniable universal truths. The one thing that you need to do if you're a business that relies on your experience or expertise is that you need to, at some point in time, systemize delivery. That means you have to create IP that works harder than you do. If you rely purely on what's in your head and your experience, there'll come a point in time where you cannot keep up with the capacity that your business will demand of you. And that's going to be very costly for you, because someone who does have IP will always outperform you faster and better than someone who relies purely on their own intellect and intelligence. I can move faster than 90% of my competition because I have IP and a team to drive it. So it's purely about horsepower. Everyone understand horsepower? You got a two-cylinder versus a V12, which car is going to win the race? It's the same with your systems, okay? The second thing is create and stick to a core offer. So many of us get a good idea and think that idea is going to be that thing that's going to make them the next $1 million. And so you deviate from something that would get you to where you wanted to go, but you're not patient enough to realize it because you get bored before you can experience success. Entrepreneurs get bored before they experience success. So the fact is, we have to get good at doing repeatable actions consistently, because that builds a habit of commitment, and commitment creates resilience, and resilience creates a solid leader. So you have to be willing to say no as you grow to get more done than say yes and deviate from the plan. 3, make more offers. So many of you guys have $1 million business, you haven't realized it yet. It's because you're too scared to make offers. So things come up. I don't want to use cookie cutter strategies. I'm different. I don't want to spam people. I don't want to be seen as salesy. I don't want to burn out. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. We can put ourselves into a prison of our own stories, but ultimately, if you want to generate more business, you have to make more offers. It's almost linear. Consistency trumps intensity, right? Which means that even if you just do 10 of something a day, it's better than doing 100 in 1 day over a year. Someone said last time we had the intensive, they said it's like eating apples. You can eat an apple every day for a year, but it's impossible to eat 365 apples in a day, right? Same with your business. Same with your business. Okay. The next truth that's super important is we talk about compounding culture, and we have to build a team so they can build your business. And I talk about it like outsourcing your incompetence. So many of you suck at so many things, but because in business, and I suck at so many things, and at business, it's about understanding what your strengths are and leaning into that and finding people who are better at doing the things that you're not great at. Like I've had chats with people when I have sales conversations and they'll say things like, I'm not a people person. Find someone who is, because that's your weakness. That's the reason why your business won't grow. I don't like sales. Either you learn to like sales or you find someone who does. Otherwise, your business won't grow. I'm not a systems guy. I'm not a detail guy. Either you become a detail guy or a girl or a person, or you find someone who is. Because those stories become the reason why you don't grow. Because so much of business is not about what you need to do, but it's who you need to become or who you need to have around you. Leveling up your leadership. Skill set will get you so far, mindset will get you further, because it's what you think about what you do that drives you forward, not so much just what you do. If you have beliefs about what you do or who you are or the industry or the strategy or the company or whatever it is, those stories become the thing that drive you or stop you. So you've got to surround yourself with people smarter than you who can challenge you and say, that's bullshit. I had a really high-level conversation. They're on the call, so I won't mention names, but they told me a story about their business. And it was really nice, comfortable, happy story. It was really good. And they're doing quite well in business. And I'm like, that's bullshit. Being comfortable is not a strategy. Because if you go, I'm comfortable, but I've got goals, which one do you want? Comfort or goals? Because growing requires change. Change is uncomfortable, right? So each of you understand that when I talk about business, I talk about business like it's a strategy. And those 5 things are the things that I constantly check in with. So out of those 5 things, everyone, before we move on, which one resonated with you the most? As I said it, you would have got a feeling, a resistance, You might have written on the page, shut up, Rana. I don't know. But which one was yours? Right? Make more offers, says Jenny. Systemize IP, says Wendy. Okay, number 4. I don't remember what that was off the top of my head. Make more offers. Okay, cool. Keep going, make more offers. Level up your vision, systemize IP. The one that stuck out to you is probably the one that I'd love you to consider for the next couple of days. That would be the thing that you probably need to lean into learning how to do over the next 90. Our intuition is pretty powerful. Logical types will say it's too crap and they'll leave it. Emotional types who are empathetic will go, you know what, I leaned into it. They'll probably lean into it too much and make a story over it and a poem and draw pictures. We've got to meet in the middle and go, I trust my intuition. Now I've got to do something with it. Can I put up the last slide? For you, Catherine, anything. There it is. I'd like you to circle that box. Because as you move through this next few days, you'll find that's the thing that you go, as much as you don't like it or there was a feeling or a resistance, that's your intuition saying, probably need to look at that. And the thing is, you can't work on everything at once, team. You just have to work on what we say, do less better. Do less better. Everyone, open up your workbooks. We're going to jump into page, it should look like this. The expert success system, something along the lines of this. We're going to start here. Okay. So, let's dive in, shall we? Buckle up. Consider for a moment. Every winner and every loser has the same goals. Some people might not like the word loser. Sorry about that. But in the hard, cold light of day, in the black and white world of did you do it or did you not, everyone says, I want $1 million business. Everyone says, I want to be a billionaire. Everyone says, I want a business that runs without me. Everyone says, I want passive income. Everyone says the same things. And it's me, I love it because psychology for me is a real big thing. I love it. Why does everyone set the same goals and what makes people different? See, what I found out over the last few years is that the people who I would consider, when I say losers, learners, and I hope that they learn, they commit to an outcome. And they constantly benchmark themselves between where they are now and an outcome. They miss the picture because the goal of the winner is actually the outcome. Sure, but it's actually the activity that they fall in love with. They fall in love with the process. And the process becomes a thing that they know that if I can engineer the process, I can engineer the outcome. Whereas what the person who has a learner mindset, let's just call it that, to soften it down a little bit, is because what they're looking at is, what do I need to do to get to where I want to go faster? So I will jump to every single thing other than the thing that's difficult to make the progress I need. And I always end up in the same space, spending just as much money, doing just as much time. Has everyone seen that? I was in a shopping center the other day, right? And there was 3 checkouts. I know they've got self-checkouts, but it's like this, a great example. I'm in my checkout. I'm putting things down and I see this guy who's 2 people behind me and I'm just watching him because he's moving and you can see he's agitated. He's agitated. He's looking around. He's got his little basket. And he goes from my checkout, he jumps into the line to the right because he thinks it's a shorter line, right? Then he's like looking around. He sees another line. He jumps to the next line. And meanwhile, I'm just staying in the line watching and I'm slowly making progress, just moving towards the counter, moving toward the checkout. And guess what happens? I check out and walk out and he's still in line. And it made me think of this exact topic, is that it takes just as much energy to change, to start again, to find a shortcut, as it does just to stay consistent, because as the process helps you become a better person, the outcome is just a byproduct of the person you've become and the process that you've learned. If you don't change who you are and you don't change the things that you do, the outcome is never obtainable. So it doesn't matter how much you try to change the outcome to make it easier for you to reach. Unless you develop the process and become the person and have people around you to enable that, you'll never achieve it. Isn't it funny though that we think that the outcome is something that's easy? I'll just read a book. I'll do a quick course. I'll do a 10-day challenge and I'll become a millionaire. People just don't stick to it, right? And so the biggest mistakes we see is whenever you see some outcome, I've seen this a lot in our program, you see an outcome, so someone gets a sale and they stop doing the activity that got them the sale. Because now they've got a sale, more sales must just happen, right? We've all been there. I got my first lead. I got my first sale. I rang my first bell. I got my first contract. Now what I'll do is not do the things that help me get that result. I'll just enjoy the sale for an extended period of time and forget that my business is a system that requires effort. Who's been there? Who wants to admit it in front of everyone? I've been there. I've done it. I got a sale, take my foot off the gas. Whoop, need another sale, put my foot on the gas. Got a sale, take my foot off the gas. Whoop, got a sale. It's stop, start. Yeah, appreciate you guys being honest, because guess what? I've done it. Even to this day, that little voice says, take it easy, you made a sale today, you can go home early. What? Biggest mistake we see is that most people can't do one thing over and over again. Like going to a gym. You don't do one workout and go, I didn't get 6-pack abs and lose 3 kilos, so therefore I'm never going again. Gyms don't work. You just realize it's a process. To succeed, you need to be able to show up and do the same thing over and over again without seeing a result of what you're doing. That's the problem, entrepreneurs. If I send out 50 lead messages a day for a week and I don't get a result, I'm stopping and I'm going to go do Facebook ads. And then if I run Facebook ads for 5 weeks and spend $50,000 running Facebook ads and I don't make a sale, I'm going to try YouTube ads. Most people have to realize that when you start seeing success, 2 things happen. You start seeing the shape of the outcome that you want appear. It's fuzzy, but you start seeing yourself getting there, right? Everyone understands, like you start seeing hints of it. Oh, I'm getting better responses. Oh, wow, I'm starting to get interest. I'm starting to get more conversations. We start to see this shape of success, this idea of what we had, this vision of what we had, it starts to appear in real life, right? And rather than learn and adapt and create and evolve, what we do is we think that what I'll do is I'll go back to doing what I did before because it was easier, and hopefully I still get that outcome. It's not the 5K walk, it's the 10 meters to the front door. Like Ivan, as someone who's just done 75 hard and someone who's just doing it, mate, 80% of success is showing up. Just getting to the gym is the hardest part. Trust me. Watching your wife eat chocolate next to you when you're saying, I'm not eating chocolate, and it's your favorite block of chocolate, and your little voice goes, 1 piece won't hurt. You goes, what's this got to do with business, Rana? It's because it's the compromises we make to the consistency of the commitment we need that stops us and erodes our chances of success. Because if you set a standard for yourself where it's okay to compromise your commitment to the activity, you're setting a standard for other people around you to do the same. And if that's the business you want to create, don't be upset when great people leave, when great people don't do the work, when great people make excuses, when great people tell stories, because if you do it, especially at the start, you allow it. No one's going to care more about your business than you do, and therefore you need to show up as the best example of your business inside of what you do. And great people will love that. I want to share something with you, and some of you who have been to one of these intensives before and experts, you'll say, I've seen this before, but guess what? Great advice never goes out of date. And one of the things I'd like to share with you is a journey. to help you understand that we're more similar than we are different. And I'd like you to lean into this. If you jump onto page 9, everyone, page 9 of your workbook, it should look a little something like this. You might think, what's that? I want to share something with you. And those of you experts who have been in the program for a long time, those of you who are in IFS who've been in for a little time, I'd like you in the chat to just say yes or no as you're moving through this when you can see yourself in this diagram. And you'll start realizing, how does Rana know? Ian said yes already. How do you know? Are you a fortune teller? Are you a sage? Are you some sort of like spiritual guru? No, it's because I've been through it and I'm still going through it. And I'd like to share with you a map of what's happening and what will happen and what will continue to happen, just to give you guys some comfort that it's not you. It's business. So if we start in the middle, and what we want to do is write the word down here, which is decision. Everything that you do starts with a decision. And a decision has the power to change your life. And at the top, we want to use the word, we just want to put the word success, whatever that means to you. That'll change, but let's assume that it's solid for the time being. And at the bottom, we want to put the word time. And as a benchmark, because everyone who's logical needs to have benchmarks, we're going to put the following in the circles. In these circles, we're going to put in these circles the number 3, the number 9, and the number 12. Now, some of you have been in business for a lot longer than 12 months. That's okay. I want you to understand, guys, for example, Cyril, you've been in business for a long time. Your team, everyone listen to this, your team will go through this then. If it's not you, your team will go through this then. So listen up. Just because you're ahead doesn't mean people are at the same level as you. Ian Chalmers. There's a few Ians. Your team will go through this. So the first part of any business, we start in what we call the optimize phase, right? You guys know, you might have heard us say that. So your optimize phase is really about what we call the model. What the hell am I doing? And how do I talk about the thing that I'm doing? And really, you build a business around who? You. And the whole purpose of this stage is really about two things. It's visibility and viability. How can I get more people to see me? And how can I prove that this thing works? That's it. Whether you know it or not, that's the first phase. You're just like, I've just got to prove that. And as you start off, you'll see these little dots. And at the start, we are motivated. Super motivated. Really pumped. Who joins a new program and yes! Boom, let's do it. Rain leads from the sky because what I've done is joined a program. We're excited. We've made a commitment. We've made a decision. Our energy now is forward. It's like a cathartic moment. It's like I've made the decision to change. I'm so excited. Just joined the gym. I've got my new towel. Bought a new water bottle. Bought some new protein powder. I just signed up to a program. I got a new pen. Got an iPad. Got some lights. I'm ready. LFG, let's freaking go. Everyone's pumped. And then what happens? What happens is that we get even more excited because it's new. Oh my God, I met my coach for the first time. Just jumped into the modules. They are fantastic. Just jumped on a group program. Vaughan helped me with my model. I'm super excited. We're so excited. Your clients are going to feel this too, guys, by the way. They're going to be excited. Super excited. So excited. I wake up excited because it's new. And then what happens? Within this period, at some point in time, this thing happens, this magical thing where our old reality catches up with our excitement. Remember that time when you could eat chocolate and you enjoyed it? Remember that time where you didn't have to show up at 8 o'clock in the morning to a group session? Remember that time when you didn't have a coach and you could do whatever the hell you wanted? How good was that? How good was that where you could just do whatever you wanted? Because you know what? I don't even know if this is going to work. And the other thing is, even if it does work, how much shit do you have to learn in order to make it work? Do you really want to learn that? I reckon there's an easier way. Tim Ferriss has a book called The 4-Hour Workweek. I reckon you could do it in 4 hours a week. This bloke's telling you got to do an hour a day on LinkedIn. What a load of crap. What would this guy know? Vaughan doesn't even have hair. You've got hair. I don't even know if I can trust it. No offense, Vaughan. Unbelievable. I don't even know. And so what happens is that shows up in your world as this word, overwhelm. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed with my new reality of my possibility that I want and the old reality of what I had. And I'm overwhelmed because I'm fighting between who I need to become and who I was and who I am right now. Ivan. Overwhelmed. I hear it. I hear it all the time. You hear it in programs. Oh, I'm so overwhelmed. It's called change. It's like when you first start a diet, everyone, and that first 2 weeks you feel like absolute trash because you've stopped, you've cut out all the crap. You know it. It's like, Jenny, you're about to do your silent retreat. You go, I can only eat, once a day? You serious? And then you detox for a little bit, and you're like, I'm feeling really bad. Maybe I should stop this. Maybe it's not good for me. Stories start to bubble up. Stories, those same stories that kept you exactly where you were, which was the reason why you showed up to get the help that you want to overcome that, to get exactly to where you want to go. Do you know what happens next? Do you know what happens next? Comparison. Anthony shared a win where he just made $3,500. I don't know if I can do that. How did Kate and Thomas make like that money? They must be doing something that I'm not doing. They must be something that I'm not. You know what? It's because they've got a different target market than me. It's because they've got more experience. Their industry is easier than mine. That's what it is. So what it is. So this program probably won't work for me. So we start finding reasons to get out. Like we start getting real wriggly. And even if this is not you that stops you, these thoughts pass through you. Some people stick on these dots and some people move through them. Yeah, I haven't said, because there's two of them, right? So what we start to do then is we question. And we put a lot of time into resisting growth rather than leaning into it. Because in this phase, right, it's requiring you to validate your model. And to validate something and to get to make sure something's viable, it requires you to be different. So the very first part is purely a lot of learning new things, implementing new things, experiencing new things, and it starts to put pressure on us to perform. Yeah, the valley of despair. And remember, like in our intensive, like we talked about this, like the hero's journey, right? Where valley of despair, we start going boop to the bottom because there's a transformation that is required. And so we get to this first X, right? And by the way, for those of you who have a team, your team will go through this. I don't know if I'm clear enough. I don't know if I want to do 15 sales calls a day. I don't know if Ian knows what he's doing. Like he hasn't been able to do 15 calls a day. So do I do 15 calls a day? Jo, has she made 30 calls? She hasn't made. How would she know how hard it is or how hard it isn't? Like the same stuff happens, everyone. So what we tend to find is that people go into this mode called hiding. They hide, right? They disengage. So they disengage which ultimately leads to quitting. And guess what? They get exactly what they want. Things go back to being easier again. Because now they can go back to eating chocolate, eating shit, like doing whatever they want, no structure, no support, no challenge, no accountability, no nothing. Life's easy. Great. Well done. You win. You win the game for now. And so when I see this happen in this X.1 here, I just want everyone to write this down. This is what we call our orange flags, right? So we call this fork 1. Critical fork 1, which is what we call an orange flag. So we do this with all of our clients because we know about this. We're like, where's that person? Or they're not getting back to me. I don't care. Have you called them, messaged them, emailed them, smoke screen? Like, just what's going on? Where have they gone? Hide. They go into hiding, right? I don't know if it's for me, and you hear the same story over and over again. But write this down. This is really important for you to understand what's going on psychologically. And there's actually a Harvard Review study that shows the psychology of change. And one of the things that they say is people, they compare, right? And the reason why they compare is because they're trying to justify regression. We want progression, but we want to justify regression. We want to go, okay, I'm going to compare myself to other people and why I'm not going to be able to do the thing that I wanted to do. So we try to prove ourselves wrong to prove ourselves right, which is really weird, right? And so what we start to do is these words come into play. We start to blame the system, the process, the procedure, the person. We start to create excuses as to why we can't do it, why we're different. We start to go into denial. I didn't know that this would take this. I don't know if I have the time. I wasn't sure. And what we do is all of this stuff is just old obstacles coming up to test you so you can learn something to become the person who's required to get to where you want to go. But what we do is we see it as a challenge, and sometimes the challenge wins. Because what we want to do, old obstacles to justify, everyone, this word. Hey there, expert. So listen, our mission here at the Expert Project is to positively impact the world of other business coaches and consultants just like you. We want to help them make more impact, have more income, and have a positive influence on the world. And see, the only way we can do that is if you've heard something in today's episode that moved you, created an insight, changed your perspective, or gave you an aha moment. All I'd ask you to do is take 10 seconds, rate and review this podcast so together we can help spread the word about this podcast and have a positive influence in someone else's world. I just want to stay where I am. It was more comfortable before. What I find though, people who work through this, and this is why people say to us, and for you, everyone, why do you do one-on-one coaching? Don't just do group coaching? Because one-on-one is intervention. Why do you not spend time with each one of your team each week? Intervention. You can't do intervention in a group program. It's really embarrassing for people, but you can do it one-on-one. And intervention is what creates change. And so when I look at this, what we're looking at, everyone want to write this down, is we have to decide it's okay to ask for help. Help is okay. Some people don't like to ask for help, or they get to a point where they've already decided to quit before they ask for help. So they're not actually wanting a discussion, they've made a decision. That's the problem. Help is perspective. And so what perspective does is we have to be willing to embrace the discomfort of letting go to grow. Old habits, old ways of thinking, old business practices, We have to create something new, which requires letting go of something old. And really there's some internal, like letting go is uncomfortable. And so what I see with people is when we see people go through this, is that it's usually a good run for a while from there. Like they resell themselves and yeah, I know that's why I'm going to be here. And so there's a good run. Now, the next phase of growth, this next phase, when people actually go, because at this point, people who get wins after that, they go, oh my God, I got a win. Oh my God, I'm so happy I stuck around. You go, yeah, stuff just takes time sometimes, right? The next part is to optimize. It's to systemize. Let me write that again. Systemize. And the reason why we want to do that is for this. We're trying to find out what the method is to our madness, right? How does this thing work? I really want to find out now how I can make this work better without me. We start asking bigger questions now, right? How do I get more? How do I get more consistently? How do I do better? How do I be more like, how did Thomas and Kate do that? I want to figure out how. So we start going into how more rather than what. So it's more how, formulaic, right? So we call it the trial and error phase. Perfectionists love this phase because they expect everything to be right straight away. I can't believe this didn't work. It's really just input versus output. And it's why we have to say, did you track the activity? No. It's very hard to create a system if you don't track the input and we don't measure the output. So experts, as you know, we do the cash flow calibration. What did you guys do? What did you get back? Where were your sticking point? Okay, and so really the thing that we move into at this phase is we look at the growth phase of our business, but in a more sustainable way. So we start to settle into a system and to a cadence that's now comfortable, semi-comfortable, right? So we ask for help, we grow, and the thing that we start to see is that there is like what we call identity shift. So we start to see, okay, I see this identity of what I need to do or who I need to become. We move through it. And as we do that, things go well for a while, right? So we engage. Engagement goes up, people are happy, they implement further. Now what happens is, at some point, this thing kicks in. False expectations. Why does that happen? Is because the gap between here and here is big. So we start focusing on the outcome. But for the sake of now, we do that. That's just why it happens. I thought I would have got there quicker. God, I don't know if I can keep this up. It's like a marathon, right? You get to 35 Ks in and you're like, I don't know if you guys have ever done a marathon. If you've done a marathon, 35 Ks in, you question your life, you question everything, you question your legs, you're like, I don't know if I can sustain this. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm not sure. It's usually because you're tired. It's usually because you don't know how to scale beyond yourself. And so what we do is we start to, everyone ready for this word? Plateau. We start to plateau. Been in the same place for 3-4 months. I'm not sure I can do this. And this little red thing at the top, we call this an opportunity oasis, right? Because it's like shiny objects, or what we call a shortcut sphere, right? I think I can get there quicker by doing this thing. I'll invest in this course. I'll do that thing now. We think we're going to get there faster with the illusion of this other thing or this thing outside, this webinar strategy, this other strategy. I'm not saying you don't do R&D, but you don't stop doing what you did to get you to this point and then trash it to start all over again with something else. And so when people plateau, they plateau because they start becoming, I want to get there faster. We become impatient, right? Just like your clients will, just like your team will. I thought I'd make more commissions if I work for you. Let's look at your numbers. Input versus output. How did you think you'd make commissions if you only did 5 calls a day? The KPI is 15. Same thing. So what happens is we get frustrated and then we get back into doubting. And then we hit the second fork, what we call the second critical fork. And the second critical fork, where people quit or hide, is they start thinking about this. So everyone just write critical fork 2. What they do is we expect to see results faster, right? We literally focus on the outcome, and then all we see is we see the gap, and that's not motivating. Oh my God, it's going to take so long. It's going to take so long to create $1 million business. People go to uni for 4 years and pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to come out with nothing but a piece of paper. But I expected to get $1 million in a year. God. Like my little niece, she's 1 year old. Why hasn't she started walking yet? God, she mustn't be a smart kid. Maybe we should give her back or just adopt her out. Talk to my sister about that this weekend. It's, come on, man. When's she going to run? Sorry, some people too. You actually think I had that thought? Because part of me is like, I asked my sister the other day, when does she start walking? Hilarious. Bad uncle. Yes, the reality is here, that got dark. James like, whoa, you're at critical fork 3. We won't even go into that. Okay, critical fork 2 is what we have to do, as funny as this sounds, everyone, is we have to detach from the outcome. We have to become process driven. Because as we always say, rhythms create results. And so what I see is when people can see the process and they work the process, then you can outsource the process and grow. And so really it comes down to we tap into self-leadership. We tap into self-commitment. Some of the people that I work with at the top levels don't need to be kicked up the arse as much, right? It's not about accountability at that point. It's literally about possibility. It's like the cost of not following the process is so painful that they just won't not follow the process. And so I don't need to be like, hey, you sure is this goal not important to you? Of course it's important to them. And so their dream business, the business that they want, or the outcome, or let's just call it dream business for now, is driven purely on the back of just a little bit of clarity and sometimes confidence. So it's just tuning the engine now rather than building the engine, right? So those of you who can relate to any of that, and by the way, you might say, Rana, what's phase 3? Great question for those of you who are observant enough to pick up that I didn't put that in. Phase 3 is what we call deputize. Can't grow the business you want on your own, much as you guys think that's possible. And so we turn it from a method, we have to turn your business into a machine. And a machine is run on processes. A machine is run on systems. A machine is run on algorithms. A machine is run on all the things that you program it to do. So your business needs to be programmed, and you can use people or processes to do that. That's the goal. People and process becomes the journey, and you go, I've got to let Jake. Jake's here. Jake, are you in the house or not? I don't know. Jake's here. He had to hire his first person. That's a big thing. But you do it, right? You do it. And you learn, and you grow. And here's the thing. Here's what we're going to talk about now. I want to give you guys a map. Yeah, James, you get it. First hire. Evolution 1, optimize the model. The upswing slope, it's self-leadership and self-commitment. So the first evolution, the first 90 days of any sort of program I find is optimizing the model. And your mission really is visibility and validation, as I said. The next step is what we got to systemize the method. we've got to find out what works, trial and error, and we've got to measure the input versus the output. Otherwise, we cannot progress. Without the metrics, you cannot get performance. You just can't. I wish everyone here would understand that business is built on systems. It's not built on your dreams. It's built on processes. Like a car is built on a set of systems that work in tandem with each other to move it forward. And it's no different from your business. If you're ad hoc, it's like me driving my car, stopping, starting, not looking at the petrol tank, not looking at anything and just hoping I get there. It's slow and it's risky, right? Especially when your business has the opportunity to make you guys millions and millions of dollars, which we're going to share with you today how it can do that. Deputize the machine. Evolution 3. This one's for you. Deputize the machine. Your mission is people and process. You have to build a business that's bigger than yourself. And what I want to leave you all with, and this is a huge value map, and I don't want to give you guys too much because I know it's like drinking from a fire hose, but what I'd love for you to do is just take a moment to consider a map I'm about to share with you, because this is the journey you guys are all going to be on. And I hope for those of you who are an expert, this is the journey you're on. And potentially it might take a year, 2 years, 3 years, but damn, you're going to have a great business. I promise. Those of you who aren't at this point yet, this is your journey, whether it's through us with expert or whether you go off and you go, it's going to do something else. This is the map you're going to have to follow, irrespective of what you think. Right? No one's cracked this code, I don't think, in this clarity, but I'll share that with you. We've got to know the pitfalls, the traps, the challenges. Once we know the game, we know the process. The aim for each and every one of you at some point is this. It's 100% self-commitment. And so I don't normally read off slides, but I wrote this and I'm like, I just wanted you to screenshot this. It's so important to me. I've got it in front of me too. Personal commitment or dedication to achieving a particular goal or fulfilling a certain obligation without relying on external pressure or influence. It refers to a strong internal motivation to follow through on a promise or commitment made to oneself, often involving a sense of personal responsibility and accountability. 75 hard. No one knows whether I did the work or not. I do. That's where we need to get to if you want to make it in business. I'm sorry for those of you who are like, I disagree. No one is going to get there faster than that commitment you have to yourself. And so what I want to do is talk to you a little bit about the 4 energies of business growth. This is probably one of the most powerful frameworks. Those of you who are at the start of your business might not see the power in this. Those of you who are further ahead will see the power in this. So I've got 30 minutes and then so we've got a little bit of time. I'd love you guys to turn to page 11. And experts, we're going to go into the 4 funnels that come off this in a future training, right? Which is, we'll give you the metrics to grow these parts. Let's go through it. Looks like this. At the start of your business journey, everyone, there are 4 energies that you maybe know or don't know that are part of your business. 4 energies. And these energies get spoken about quite a lot. They look like this, right? Vision. First energy is the energy to dream. The next one is the energy of the mission. It's the doing of the vision. So it's all well and good to have a great vision of making $1 million, but what mission are we going to put in place to achieve that? And to the left, you've got what we call your frequency. And a frequency isn't like, for those of you who are like, is a level of vibration or energy or something like a radio, right? Frequency that you can tune people into or out to. So when we talk about frequency, it's what is the frequency that your business operates in terms of the offers that's going out? How clear are people on you? How many people hear you, see you, tune into you, right? So frequency, I'll get to the practicality of this in a second. So for those of you a bit more logical, go, that's what he's talking about. And on the other side of frequency is translation. See, when you've got frequency, translation is what is it that you want people to hear about your business, see about your business, and know about your business. So it's a little bit more logical. And to that effect, if you want to get these two axes, this one here is about creativity. So the vertical axis is creativity. And the horizontal axis is about logic. Because that's what business is really, like logical, creative. Some people are more creative and emotional and left brain or right brain. Some people are more logic, numbers based. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You are all of these things. And in the middle, when you start your business, everyone, and you start off with your business, it is much like this. In the middle, you have you. And in the middle of you is what we call your engine, because you are the engine of your business, and that becomes your IP. When you start your business, that's it. Or people buy into other people's IP, right? Franchise, whatever it is. So you start there. And what we teach you is basics: connect, engage, convert. How do you build a business just around you? Connect with people, build an audience, have offers that engage an audience, and convert, have people who are interested in your offer buy your thing. And that's version 1. That's the validation phase of your business, right? Everyone get that. And that might be where you're happy. Can I just say that? Not everyone wants $1 million business. You might just be happy with that. That's fine. The biggest struggle each and every one of you have is that you cannot grow a business bigger than yourself, because we struggle to understand what do we need to do, when do we need to do it, and who do we need to get in to create it, right? So we struggle with it. It's like what I call a identity crisis. Because right now you are all, or most of you, well, I'm assuming, are what I call CFE, Chief of Freaking Everything. And you need to see your business like a system and a map. And I'm going to give you this map and we're going to color it. For those of you who don't have colors, no stress. Knowing what the frequencies are, vision, mission, frequency, translation, you're going to create you're going to have a couple of what we call archetypes around this map, right? And the archetypes are purely ways that we can talk about a department that mean that we can depersonalize it from ourselves and people in that department, right? But I give things an archetype because for me it really helps. And we're going to call this Orange Team. An Orange Team is all about the builder. What does the builder do? He is the person who delivers and runs the systems and the processes of your business. But he might be your coach, whatnot. So we'll go through this in just a second, but just work with me one step at a time. The builder follows the process, follows the system, delivers the work. Everyone got that? That's not too hard. But it's not you. That's not you. If you're in the box, you're in the triangle. If it's not, you're outside the triangle. You're growing a business bigger than yourself. This becomes a system. Then what we do is we're going to talk about Green Team. And Green Team is the archetype of the promoter. And the promoter is like the marketing of your business, right? They're the person that goes out and talks about your thing on a soapbox, right? Through LinkedIn and all of these things, but they're the promoter of your business. The archetype of the promoter. Super important person, right? High level creativity. Loves it. And then to the right of that person, as we move more into logic, we've got Red Team. And Red Team is what we call the converter. And the converter is all about sales. Now, when we look at these things, you go, yeah, these are all fine, Ron, I get it. But right now you are playing all of these roles or some of these roles in your business. So therefore you're still in the triangle. And to get out of the triangle means you've got to move into the second phase or the third phase of your business. That's scary. And so Blue Team is what we call the analyzer. Right? and they're all about insights. So when you look at that, you go, okay, so Rana, talk to me about how this is applicable to my business. So let me give you the map, right? The map. Each corner of this, right, if I look at the corner of each one of these, is effectively the value of each one of these archetypes to your business. They're either working really hard in your business, they don't exist in your business, or they could exist in your business. And what they do is, a builder is responsible for the actions and the KPIs. So whenever we talk to you guys about a system, it's like someone's got to follow that system. So it's the idea of the builder that does the building and the working and delivers the thing and runs the process. And then at the top, the goal for the promoter is really about generating interest. And everyone here talks about leads, right? Leads. Cool. But then the converter, they talk about opportunities. And their whole focus is income.
Yeah.
Right? Opportunities. They focus on opportunities. That's their whole goal. And at the bottom, you've got the analyzer, and their whole goal is to aggregate data to help you make decisions based on logic, not emotion. Everyone understand that? Because what I see a lot of people do is they are the promoter trying to make analyzer decisions, or they're an analyzer trying to be a salesperson or a converter, and we blend them together, and that becomes problematic when we start our business. So right now, what I'd love you to do is find it, just red light. So I often just do a very simple thing. I go, great, without any more context than what I've given you now, builder, promoter, converter, analyzer, which one is the strongest and which one is the weakest for you right now? In the chat, strongest, weakest. Just put it in the chat. Vorno says analyzer. Promoter. Nancy, yep. Promoter, weakest, analyzer. Nice. Strongest is builder. Cool. Promoter. Nice. Converter. Okay. Good. So you got the person who can do, which is probably sometimes us, and the person who is the promoter. Okay, got it. Strongest, analyzer. Okay, see you, Ceci. Weak, converter. Okay. Now what I'd like you to do is just take a moment and write down a couple of things, right? This is awesome because these are really good insights for you, is to then understand, how do I know as you grow your business, everyone, like Cyril, Ian Chalmers, those of you who have businesses that are just beyond just you here, Julian, you guys know who you are, right? What I want you to do is think about this in terms of departments. Like when we look at it, we go builder. What's the purpose of Orange Team? How do we know what they're... See, because people do precision descriptions and all this stuff, it means nothing. The reality is every single one of these quadrants make you business money. They're not redundant. They all make your business money, and they make your business money in a number of different ways. Ready? First is, you got to ask yourself this question. I'll try to write as neat as possible. So, the goal of the builder in your business, there'll be some variation, but for the purpose of today's session, is they've got to answer this question or live this statement. All clients stay, get results, and enjoy the experience. All clients stay, get results, and enjoy the experience. AKA, your focus is retention. Orange Team is about retention. Systems for retention, people for delivering for retention, it's retention. You've got to ask yourself, if you're an Orange Team, this month, did all clients stay, get results, and enjoy the experience? And each one of these has a funnel with it. So you can give it to your department and you can create powerful KPIs. So for those of you, like some of my private clients we do this with, and it's super powerful because it just gives clarity where there's no clarity. And therefore now there's consistency where there was no consistency, and there's performance where there was no performance. Crazy good, right? Promoter. If you're on green team, you have to make sure that you can say, you can live this, right? That the business always has a full opportunity pipeline. Notice I didn't say always has a lot of leads and stuff coming through. Opportunity pipeline is the word, right? You've always got opportunity sitting in your business somewhere that you can tap into. That's the promoter's goal. That's the team's goal. You might have one person in the green box. You might have 50 people. Whether they're doing YouTube ads, Facebook ads, doesn't matter. The goal is, I, as the CEO, walk in and say, how much is in our opportunity pipeline? And there is a 0. You are failing in your department. The department needs a recal. Goal is, there should always be access to leads. Period. Everyone got that, right? This is it. So if you're saying to me, sometimes some people go like, we don't have enough leads. If it's just you, okay, let's just work through the basics. If you've got like a VA or something, then they start to move into here. They become the part of you that isn't you, the part of your business that isn't you, that runs a low-grade promoter. They're just like level 1 promoter archetype, right? And your virtual assistant becomes this person who follows your strategy and they build off it. Converter, you've got to live this. If you've got a red team where you've got people who aren't you that's selling, get ready for this, every opportunity is nurtured, managed, and converted. AKA, ring the bell, or you are making sure you make sales. That's it. And there's a system and a process right behind all this, but these are the outcomes that we're wanting. And obviously, as I said, it's not outcome focused, it's process focused. So what are the processes that you have in place that you're building here when you're inside the triangle that you could give to someone to build your business and scale it? Because if you don't have a strategy for sales, you cannot give it to someone else. Can't. Because it'll always come back to you. Which is why we talk about build the standard SOPs, all of that stuff. But you go, okay, analyzer. How do these people make me money? Rana, I've got an admin team, they make me no money. Great. There's probably not following the right strategy, but let's look at that, right? This is what they've got to live. The business runs effectively and efficiently. Effectively and efficiently, which means we make an increase in profit. It's about do less better. Instead of taking 5 steps to do something, can we do it in 3? Instead of having 10 people doing something, can we make it 7? Instead of having subscriptions that are like $10,000 a month in subscriptions, can we achieve the same outcomes with $3,000 a month of subscriptions? This is the analyzer. And when you put all of this together, everyone, that's the second phase of your business. People say, oh, Rana, why does it take so long to grow my business? Because it takes a long time for you to build out these departments and these teams, because it takes time for you to understand who you would need to become to validate and build the systems for someone else to follow. And guess what? They're always going to suck at it first. So we have levels, right? Which is what we build out. We have levels to what these things look like. And so when people go, then what happens when we get to $10 million and beyond? What we're starting to see now, and again, and it's really interesting how all this is turning out, is that you go, the visionary is the CEO. The mission, the person who takes care of the mission is the COO. The person who's in charge of frequency, which is like how clear things are, we following the frequency of the offer and what the marketing stands for, is really the CMO. And translator, how well is our message being translated to the market so people buy into it and buy it? As funny as this sounds, it's really the CFO because they're high logic. They can just tell you, they don't need to know the excuses of why your sales team isn't working. They just need to look at your profit and loss and say, it doesn't matter what they say, they're not making sales, period. And the person in the middle is potentially maybe you, maybe it's a manager. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to share with you guys is this is the map. And what you need to do is focus on one department at a time. If you could just outsource one of these things in the next 90 days, or at least get handed off to someone, that's going to give you back some time. And when you can have that time back and you've got someone else following a process for you, it allows you to then focus on the next box. And when you think about your business as in 1, 2, 3 months, 4 months, each box is a business in itself. This is why, when you think about it takes time to build a team. But the beautiful thing about it is once you've got a great team, your business will grow exponentially because it doesn't rely on you. At the start, what we tend to focus on is we might give process-driven tasks to certain people in these boxes, follow these processes. Like it might be like low-grade tasks, as in I don't want someone to coach our system unless they've reached a certain level. But at the start, they might just start with customer service. So the weakest one for me, this is the risk. The risk with people who say, and again, great question by Wendy. Wendy asked, do you hand off your weakest one or one you've mastered so you are clear what you're handing over? Correct. Correct meaning you don't hand off your weakest one unless you have a system that you can hand off to someone to follow that might be better at running the system than you. So it's okay for people to be better at something than you are, and a great talented person will iterate and innovate on your system. They won't just follow it. The first step is someone who just follows it. The next step is someone who improves it. And then the next step is someone who owns it. Just get people to follow it first and then measure it. And so when you think about this model, everyone, just for a moment before we take a little breather, before we bring on our next guest, this is a lot to take in because this is a journey that takes some people a decade. But the reality is there's no strategy to business other than what we learn or get taught. And what I've always realized for me is that if it's to be, I have to start. I have to know that I can build an audience, I can engage that audience, and I can turn that audience into a client so I can validate my process. Then I look at what do I need to build so I can bring in help, process-driven help. Can someone help me manage my sales process? So rather than all the back and forth, I've got someone who's an assistant to me who can grow and learn. Process, improve, own. Process, improve, own. And that's why it takes time. But when you have a sales team that's converting for you, or you have a marketing team that's bringing in leads for you, or you have a coach that's helping to help facilitate the growth of clients, like when I say for you, with you, when you're able to do that, when you've got someone who's analyzing the data that can give you insights that you don't have time to get, when you've got people around you and you've got a team, your business ends up being in this phase here. But you can't shortcut people and process. I'm so sorry, you can't. You can run Facebook ads, but all you're doing is choosing to stay in this box, in the triangle, which is okay. But there'll come a time where the pain of growth is going to tap on your shoulder and go, I can't keep doing this on my own. Okay, so what do you need to let go of now? Process, person. Who can help you with the processes? And then what person can jump in to run the process, to improve the process, that you can build up to own the process, so then you can focus on becoming CEO of your business. You might say, I really just want to be the COO of my business. You know what? I might want to just get out of my business and have other people be those roles. And what I do is I'm an investor of my business now, where I just take drawings and dividends. I don't run it day to day at all. So please understand, guys, we have a process in our mind. Whenever we work with any client, it's like there are stages and phases of growth, and there are challenges, new levels, new devils. But business will always demand more of you. Always demand more of you. That's the game of business. If it doesn't, everyone will be doing it, and it'd be like easy. Strategy, consistency, commitment. This is your map.